Previously on Kingdom Hearts 1 Final Mix Challenge Mode. And now, Dan Castellaneta. Hello everybody! Welcome back to another episode of Challenge Mode. Last time we completed Olympus, and we're not going to go to Agrabah just yet. We have a few things we can clear out. The first of which being the Keyhole here in Traverse Town. Obviously a handful of worlds were cut from the manga that were originally in the game, but for every single Disney world, Sora and company closed the Keyhole of the respective world. Except for Traverse Town. I didn't even know that there was an option to seal the Traverse Town Keyhole until I saw that there was an optional boss that you could fight in the Kingdom Hearts 1 Player's Guide. And the design of this Heartless really surprised me, as we'll see in a minute. But for now, we've got another Trinity to unlock. The other Trinities are funny, as we'll see later, but I still stand by that this is the best one. Hey, look at that! We actually did have a Hunchback of Notre Dame world even before Dream Drop Distance. I don't know what people are complaining about. I do find it interesting that you have to ring it 3 times though. I get that it's a general good rule for any form of media, the rule of 3, be it comedy, action, or a set piece or what have you. But it seems really interesting that you specifically have to ring it 3 times here in order to reveal the keyhole in the boss fight. Knowing Nomura, I'm surprised it wasn't 13 rings. But there we go. The butterfly mural and the keyhole. And a very surprisingly tough boss fight on the onset. There have been some playthroughs where I don't come back here until after I beat an Agrabah, because then I've got a few extra levels, but for this playthrough I figured it'd be good to add a little bit of an extra challenge, plus getting the arrow spell before some of the upcoming bosses would really helpful. And we start off with what feels like a similar, easy boss. They even give him the lower health stats to make it look a lot easier than it's going to be. Granted, I could equip the Jungle King and then do a lot more extra damage in general, but that's not fun for a challenge run. It also helps that I chose the sword instead of the shield because I'm stubborn, so now I have to get a lot more level ups before I can get block. And if we were just fighting this boss for the whole time, that'd be fine. But we are not. We're fighting the reverse armor. I had no idea that this was a design originally. Surprisingly, even though the armor makes an appearance in Chain of Memories and I believe in 358 Days Over 2, this version of the reverse armor never shows up. Although I was spoiled by its general design thanks to the player's guide like I mentioned earlier, I knew what the thing looked like. I knew it was just an inverse of the normal Heartless armor, so I wasn't exactly flabbergasted the first time I saw this. I was completely shocked at the fact that this guy hits like a semi-truck. I consider myself a pretty darn good Kingdom Hearts player. I have done these similar challenge runs on my own before, but sometimes these bosses just seem way too overpowered. And it's not like I've been slacking off either. I've hit just about every single Heartless patch in all the worlds so far to try and get myself a level up. Granted, I did take the route where it means I'm getting level up slower than normal before I hit level 50. And I've done this challenge a few times, but even when I've done routes where I do balanced or fast early level up, I have found myself struggling against some of these bosses because their stats just seem completely unbalanced. Either that or I just need to get better at the game. Of all the numbered titles, Kingdom Hearts 1 is the title I have played the least. I think it's fair to say, even though it's only been about 4 years, I've probably played Kingdom Hearts 3 more than I've played Kingdom Hearts 1 for a full playthrough. As good as the original Kingdom Hearts 1 is, there still is a lot of problems with it, and it has aged the worst out of all the Kingdom Hearts games in my opinion. Plus, this was the first game in the series. It was trying to find its footing, it was trying to figure out its identity, and it had a long ways to go, clearly. Every single Kingdom Hearts game plays somewhat differently from a previous iteration. Even if you look at games like Birth by Sleep, Recoded, and Dream Drop Distance, which all use the same system, all 3 of those games had something different that added a bit more uniqueness compared to the previous entries. Same with the numbered titles. 1 had a more platforming angle, 2 leaned a bit more into the action RPG element, and then you look at Kingdom Hearts 3, which seems to be more or less an amalgamation of all the previous Kingdom Hearts games that came before it, leaning a bit more into Kingdom Hearts 2. And as unforgiving as those bosses are, they aren't as unforgiving as the ones here in my opinion. These bosses hit like a semi-truck, and you don't have nearly as much control over Sora in this game as you do in future installments. But on the flip side of that, compared to Kingdom Hearts 1, it is a bit slower, and if you try to play a bit more patiently, you do have a bit more success. So even though we're on the brink of defeat, all we need is one more good combo. Get over here, come on. There we go. And we got Tech Boost, which is another great way to get EXP in the game. And now we've got the Traverse Town Keyhole locked up, and we've also got ourselves a defensive spell, Arrow, which is, while really nice to have, does cost a lot of MP, especially if you're not equipping Keyblades that give you more MP stats. And by completing that challenge, we unlock our first Coliseum tournament. It's a great way to get EXP, and you have to beat all of them to seal the keyhole for Olympus, as well as get the secret ending with the Hades Cup. And given the fact that the Heartless and Agrabah hit like a semi-truck just like the bosses do, getting some extra EXP is really good at this stage of the game. So we'll disembark and get started with the Phil Cup. While we're here, I never really talked about my experience with the movie when we actually played the story of this world. This is a movie I actually saw while I was in college with some of my friends while we were waiting for an edit to render for a 48-hour film festival, but I wasn't really paying that much attention. I just sort of kinda watched it off to the side, but I wasn't focusing too much on it. I thought the movie itself was fine. James Woods was hilarious as Hades, but everything else just seemed way too jokey. Dan DeVito was obviously the comic relief, but then you've got Hercules being more of a goof than anything else. They've actually played the Hercules characters a lot more serious compared to the original movie here in Kingdom Hearts. Well, in the games at least. In the manga, there was a joke the first time we ever meet Hercules in that story. Hercules has just come back from cleaning toilets, and Phil is amazed that he actually managed to get a true hero to clean toilets. Because toilets. Okay, that's not entirely fair. It does lead to the hilarious defeat of Hades in the Kingdom Hearts 1 manga. The bathroom starts falling apart because Hercules was a bit too strong for the job, and due to that fact, the bathroom broke apart and swallowed Hades into the earth below, which is pretty funny. But with that said, while I was talking, I just sort of cut around a first Phil Cup win. Some extra EXP is always good. The footage of the win here is from after we complete this next world, but for the sake of just a better flowing narrative, I decided to put it here. And with the Phil Cup completed, we are off to Agrabah, the next Disney World. Aladdin is a movie I have seen, and surprisingly I never actually had any picture books of it growing up. It does kind of make sense. It was a late 90s movie, so picture books wouldn't have been out yet by the time I was growing up.
And the keyhole?
The Heartless are searching for it now. I'm certain we'll find it soon enough. So that just leaves...
Jafar! I've looked everywhere for Jasmine. She's disappeared like magic.
The girl is more trouble than she's worth.
You said you had things under control.
Agrabah is full of holes for rats to hide in. But why worry about Princess Jasmine? With her, or without her, surely this world will be ours when we find the keyhole.
We need all 7 princesses of heart to open the final door. Any fewer is useless.
Well, if the princess is that important, we'll find her. Find Jasmine, and bring her to me at once.
Don't steep yourself in darkness too long. The heartless consume the careless.
Your concern is touching, but hardly necessary.
You know, I wonder if the merchant song from the original movie is supposed to signify how the Heartless greet you when you first step into this world. Land alive, that was fast. I've only seen Aladdin from start to finish one time, and that was when I was really little. I was still in my kind of wimpy stage where I was scared of anything I hadn't seen 10,000 times before, but surprisingly we never really fast-forwarded through any of the quote-unquote scary scenes in that movie. I still remember seeing Jafar turn into a snake. I still remember that whole fight, and the lights and sounds would have normally meant I had nightmares, but I think I was just so disassociated with the movie that I didn't care. Not to say that it's a terrible movie. Nowadays I can watch clips of Robin Williams as a genie and really appreciate them, but for the most part when it came to the original Aladdin movie when I watched it, I either just didn't pay full enough attention, or I didn't really care about the overarching story because I wanted to watch Star Wars The Phantom Menace pod race scene. And now that I say that about fast forwarding, it's entirely possible that we did fast forward through the Escape from the Cave of Wonders scene because that is a bit of an intense scene right there. I barely even remember it. All I remember is Jafar as the old man trying to get the lamp from Aladdin and Abu at the very end, but even then I wasn't really paying the best attention because I think Abu obviously visually grabs the lamp from Jafar, but I just missed it, and I thought to myself, did he magically steal it? How did that happen? And even then, I don't have that big of a connection to Disney, so I don't have the burning desire to watch these movies again anytime soon.
Who's there? Hello?
Aladdin? Where might I find this street rat? Jasmine, allow me to find you more suitable company, my dear princess. These little rats won't do, you see.
Jasmine, run!
Ah, the boy who holds the key.
Something I find really interesting about the Disney fanatics who really enjoy these movies, not a lot of them seem to get into Kingdom Hearts. I know a ton of Disney adults, and some of them who even live down in Florida to be close to Disney World. They're all great people, but surprisingly, only a handful of them know or have even played Kingdom Hearts. Maybe later games in the series they would have missed, I could get that, especially as the series gets more and more into the original Kingdom Hearts character stories rather than the Disney worlds. But the first game, I'm kinda surprised that I haven't seen some of my friends say like, oh yeah, I played Kingdom Hearts 1 a lot on the PlayStation 2 or something like that. Granted, not a lot of them may have grown up with video games, so that can play a factor. I'm just kinda surprised that they never even really heard of Kingdom Hearts outside of just in passing by their gamer friends. Or from me screaming at the top of my lungs that Kingdom Hearts needs a lot more representation in the Disney parks than they currently have. Not even necessarily a ride, more opportunities of Kingdom Hearts stuff to find, maybe hidden keyblades, have sea salt ice cream available at some of the ice cream shops. Heck, the whole gimmick of Kingdom Hearts is that you go from Disney World to Disney World, that's basically what the parks are. Why not have something akin to what Universal has in Super Nintendo Land, where you go around to different parts of, say, the Magic Kingdom, and tag certain activities to activate a Kingdom Hearts challenge. You don't even necessarily need to build new activities akin to Mario Land throughout the Disney parks to accommodate for Kingdom Hearts. Just say you've got this little Kingdom Hearts band, tag it to a Disney ride like the Magic Carpets, or even say Tiana's Bayou once that gets completed. Then you've got yourself a key to unlocking a new challenge that's sort of like a VR game similar to Bowser Jr.'s challenge. And you could even tie it into Kingdom Hearts further. Say you found the keyhole. Tap your power band against a specific item on the ride vehicle at a certain point in, say, Tiana's Bayou, or in something like It's a Small World. If you can spot Sora, or maybe a hidden keyblade or something like that, bada bing, bada boom, you've got another item that gets you one step closer to this new challenge. And even then, you can make the argument if Nomura somehow wanted to make it all canon, Missing Link's coming out soon, you can make it connect to that.
Gosh, not again! Genie, get rid of these guys!
Wish number 1 coming right up!
I see. Thanks, Sora.
Aladdin, what are you doing out here?
Same old stuff. Hunting legendary treasure. Just paid a visit to the Cave of Wonders. I found that magic carpet. And this lamp. Legend has it that whoever holds the lamp can summon...
Please, kid, leave the intros to a professional. The one and only Genie of the Lamp. Rub-a-dub-dub the lamp and have your dearest wishes granted. Today's winner is Aladdin. Congratulations. Patience, my fine feathered friend. Any 3 wishes. Oh, 1 wish, a 2 wish, a 3 wish. Then I make like a banana and spin it. Our lucky winner made his first wish.
And let me tell you what a doozy that wish was.
So he has 2 left. So, Master, what'll you have for wish number 2?
How about making me a fabulously wealthy prince?
Whoa! Money, royalty, fame! Why didn't I think of that? Okay, you asked for it. 100 servants and 100 camels loaded with gold. Just say the word and I'll deliver it in 30 minutes or less, or your meal free! Hey, I'll even throw in a cappuccino.
No thanks.
Okay.
I think I'll put that on hold until we reach Agrabah.
Oh, why a prince?
You see, there's this girl in Agrabah named Jasmine. But she's a princess, and she could never fall for a guy like me.
Princess?
Jasmine?
Oh, that's right. She's in trouble, Aladdin.
What? Well, come on, let's get going.
Fresh air, the great outdoors.
I guess you don't get out much, huh?
Comes with a job. Phenomenal cosmic powers, itty-bitty living space. It's always 3 wishes, then back to my portable prison. I'm lucky to see the light of day every century or 2.
Say, Genie, what if I use my last wish to free you from the lamp? What do you think?
You'd do that?
Genie, it's a promise. After we help Jasmine.
If I remember right, Anakin did actually make it all the way to Agrabah when they played Kingdom Hearts on their own, but they still had stuff to complain about. Why is it not Robin Williams voicing the genie? Why is it like this? Why is it not like that? Things like of that nature. It was just, oh my gosh, stop! Play the game for what it is and judge it on its own merits, not what you thought it was going to be. Probably something that a lot of the fans who played Kingdom Hearts 3 could take a lesson from. My general rule of thumb is, if you have not played something or watched something from start to finish, don't judge something and say that your opinion is the only one that matters. I have had a few games and movies where I've decided to just give up because I could not enjoy myself while playing them. But at the same time, I've never really said like, oh yeah, like the whole thing is terrible. I said like, I only got this far before I gave up, so take that for what it's worth, but you're free to judge it on your own merits. And even in that sense, it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, it's all negative because I had negative experience at a certain point. I had the hardest time playing the original Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii because I struggled on the Ether Mine portion of the game, which is fairly early on and I hadn't really leveled up, so I was struggling. So I kind of sort of put it away and I never really thought about it again until years later. I thought to myself, I didn't have as much fun with it because I kept dying, but everybody says it's great, so at least they get to enjoy it. But then years later, I actually get to pick up Xenoblade Chronicles again and try to beat it on my own terms. I'm better at games, I give it a bit more time, and it has become one of my favorite games of all time now. And that's why I feel like folks should wait until they've completed the full thing before they offer judgment on it, because then it can create a false positive of negativity. As far as I am aware, Anakin hates Kingdom Hearts simply because I love it, and that bums me out. Not because, oh, it's a great series, everyone should join it, but I just kind of wish Anakin got to enjoy Kingdom Hearts on their own merits.
Setting your sights a little high, aren't you, boy? Back to your hole, street rat. I will not allow you to trouble the princess anymore.
Jasmine!
I'm so sorry, Aladdin.
Genie, help Jasmine, please.
One wish left. You're making this really easy, you know?
So sorry, boy. I'm afraid your second wish has been denied.
Huh?
I'm sorry, Al.
And now, I bid you all farewell. Attack!
I bring up the merits bit because, another small thing, I am a big fan of the show RWBY, and the one who got me into that show was Anakin. Now, like I said, I haven't seen Anakin in years, and the last time we talked about RWBY was during Volume 4 days, but at the same time, even though it's been a long time, and to a certain degree I still equate RWBY to Anakin, but I don't let that be an excuse of what I do and do not like about RWBY. I found a way to enjoy RWBY on my own merits without having to equate it to this person who got me into it. And I do kind of wish that Anakin would give Kingdom Hearts a chance for the sake of just enjoying it on their own merits, but at the same time, as it stands right now, like I mentioned, I believe they simply hate it because I love it, and that does bum me out. I honestly believe if folks give Kingdom Hearts a chance and play the games in release order, they'll find a great game with great action and one of the best stories ever put to consoles, in my opinion. This is just mostly talking at this point. I'm not part of Anakin's life anymore, and I can't just randomly talk to strangers about, hey, you should play this video game. But at the same time, by completing a project from start to finish, I can at least give an honest assessment of how I feel about the project, instead of just saying, oh, I only played a few hours, or I saw a clip online, therefore I think this is terrible. I think it was the Gamers Joint who did a review of Spoken, and he talked about how a lot of clips from that game were circulating around about how the character talked, how the character interacted, and things like that, and how the internet just kind of generally seemed to hate on it for the sake of hating on it. And then he, having actually played the game, said like, okay, this actually kind of makes sense. It's not great, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. And I think that's true of any media. I remember in 2019, my family, we all went to see Star Wars Episode 9 together, and I went in without knowing much of anything outside of some of the major trailers. My brother, on the other hand, went in already having read the entire plot and already deciding that he was going to hate it. I love him to death, but at the same time, judge a movie on its merits after watching it yourself. Don't let the internet decide an opinion for you. There's a great verse in a song called Come With Me Now by the Congos where it says, I open my mouth and it's something I've read. And that is kind of a good encapsulation of how the 2010s and 2020s have gone so far for humanity. Folks just see a random headline or story, they automatically assume they know everything about that subject then, and then it becomes a massive, I agree with you, I agree with you, I agree with you. And then nobody really has their own opinion because the opinion is already stated by the masses. I hope as we continue to grow in this digital age, humans will become smart enough to realize that they need to do a bit more digging other than just believing some random guy saying vaccines don't work and taking it as law, but I'm not holding my breath.
Jasmine! To the desert! Come on, let's move!
And now with that completed, it's time for the Cave of Wonders boss fight. Oh my gosh, do I hate this boss fight. This thing is an absolute pain. The only way you can do consistent damage is through platforming. Most of the bosses in this game, even though they hit like semi-trucks, at least have the courtesy to keep within a striking range of your attacks. This boss? You have to either climb on its head or try to hit it while its muzzle is in the sand, and that's a trick because this thing is constantly spewing Heartless in your face. And not even like cheap shadow Heartless to make it easy, no, these things will spawn fat bodies at you. And this thing takes forever. I just cut out 2 minutes worth of footage just to cut to this first death. Because land alive, this is taking too long. That's such a trick with this boss. If the Heartless don't kill you, the projectiles will, and then when you get so close, the Heartless kill you, and then when you get close, the projectiles kill you. I will have a lot to say about other bosses throughout this game as we go along, but this one in particular, oh my gosh, we are finally past him. I never want to fight this guy again. And clearly Jafar had it wrong in the movie. You didn't need a person with a pure heart in order to attain entrance into the Cave of Wonders. All you had to do was beat the snot out of its face. And now we've gained access to the Cave of Wonders, we're mostly going to skip around because it's a lot of puzzle solving and room moving and then just fighting random enemies. So we're going to skip ahead to an interesting part that I talked about earlier. I said that for the most part, unless I had to, I would be using Donald and Goofy as my party members. But for this segment, you do need Aladdin in your party because you have to have a Boo in order to access the magic stones that help open the doors within this labyrinth of water passages, as we'll see here in a moment. This is a really good way to involve the Disney characters because outside of this, not many of the other Disney party members actually contribute anything in terms of world scaling or anything like that in any of the future Kingdom Hearts games. And as for any fights I got into with random Heartless while I was exploring the Cave of Wonders, I made sure to make a point of keeping Donald in the party because he's the weakest and will likely die the quickest, so then I have to rely on my own abilities. I honestly wonder if it was a programming or maybe even a processing thing that they had to cap the party members to 3 for all of these early games, because I would have figured by Kingdom Hearts 2 they might have figured out how to have more than 3 party members at the same time playing. It could come back to the general Square Enix mindset of you can only have 3 party members at a time for a Final Fantasy-esque game, so that could be a major contributing factor.
My first wish, Genie, show me the keyhole.
And before we go and fight Jafar for the final boss of this world, we can actually get a few extra chests and items throughout this room by using a Boo's ability, so let's go ahead and knock that out real quick, shall we? And with the looting done, it's time to finally take Aladdin out of the party and bring it back to the original trio of Sora, Donald, and Goofy. And I don't think there's anything else we need to do or I need to show, so let's just jump right into it and take down the Vizier of Agrabah.
That boy again?
He is more persistent than I expected. Why not explain the situation to that boy Riku? Doing so may actually prove useful to our...
Wait a second. Are you Maleficent?
Jafar, let Jasmine go!
Not a chance. You see, she's a princess. One of 7 who somehow hold the key to opening the door.
Open?
But you fools won't live to see what lies beyond it. Genie, my second wish, crush them!
Genie, no!
Sorry, Al. The one with the lamp calls the shots. I don't have a choice.
While I complained about the platforming aspects of fighting the Cave of Wonders earlier, at the very least with Jafar, there's platforming elements, but you also have an easy access to the boss. With the Cave of Wonders, you didn't have that element, so that created a lot of frustration there. And here, even though the genie can hurt you, he doesn't do a ton of damage, and he also drops helpful healing items like MP orbs and potential MP orbs as well. And this is something I also think that the game does better than the movie. In the movie, Jafar just kinda waves his wand around and Aladdin doesn't really do anything until Jafar becomes a snake and it becomes a much more physical battle. In Kingdom Hearts, we don't see Snake Jafar until Union Cross, which is really interesting. But here we actually get to see Jafar trying to overpower his enemies using his own abilities, rather than just waving his wand and creating a wall of obstacles that the opponent can't get through and can attack him then. That being said, that doesn't mean that this boss isn't absolutely annoying. The way he flies around the stage at all times and then you can't really reach him before he's off to another platform is just absolutely infuriating sometimes. Like here, I just jumped up to attack him. Now he's flying off over there. Can you please stay still so I can at least do some damage for a bit? It does help that at least he isn't constantly spewing stuff at you and the genie is more just a distraction than anything else. But at the same time, this fight would go a lot faster if you didn't have to deal with all of this constant running around. It took another 2.5 minutes to cut ahead to this moment right here where he's down to his last legs and we finally beat him. It took 2.5 minutes to go from that much health to 0 health. Land alive, that took forever. And at this point in the game, the only other keychain you have at your disposal is the Jungle King. And that only gives you 2 extra strength points, so I'm not even sure that would do that much help to speed up the process of beating the boss quicker at this point.
Genie, my final wish. I want you to make me an all-powerful genie!
I know that these movies are condensed like nobody's business when it comes to the Kingdom Hearts translations, but there's nothing that really prompts Jafar to become a genie. He just says, I want to be a genie now because movie happened. I will praise when Kingdom Hearts does stuff better in the game than the original movies do, but this is definitely something that the movie did better than the game. Aladdin tricking Jafar into becoming a genie because that was the most powerful thing he could become made sense. And even the manga for Kingdom Hearts 1 made a bit more sense. Genie was originally tasked by Jafar to destroy the main party, but he kept pulling his punches, so Jafar said, that's a slap on the wrist, let me show you how it's really done, and that's what prompts him to become a genie. But in the game, it's just like, oh, they beat me, I'll become a genie now, I guess. And usually this boss takes a while as well, because Iago normally flies from side of the map to side of the map. But for whatever reason, I think I just got the RNG roll that dictated that Iago was barely going to move, and that helped speed things along much quicker. It's not entirely quick enough, so let's speed this up until when we finally do defeat Iago. I mean Jafar, I mean both of them. And just like that, a few good swings, we finally learn Guard, Land Alive, and we have completed Agrabah.
Okay, Jafar, back to your lamp.
Jasmine? Jasmine!
Whoa, we better get out of here!
Jasmine!
So 2 quick things. One, I have no idea why this escape sequence is in the game. It's not that hard, it doesn't really change anything. I think if you lose, you might have to fight Genie Jafar again, which is an absolute pain, but this is like the easiest thing ever. There are constantly HP orbs to help you out. I'm not sure why there are MP orbs, because as far as I can tell, you can't actually cast magic, like Cure or anything like that through this segment, but who knows. Maybe they initially planned for this to be a much bigger segment, where you were fighting Heartless rather than just escaping from the Cave of Wonders, but I'd have to look that up. And second, Jafar could clearly see that Iago had his lamp and that could potentially defeat him, right? So why did he just focus on the 4 of us instead of actually trying to get the lamp and protect it from us? Is it a rule that genies can't hold the lamp that they are bound to or something like that? I could have sworn that the genie in the movie at least handed the lamp to Aladdin at one point or another. And once again, it makes a bit more sense in the manga. Jafar is so wrapped up in his new power, he doesn't even notice that Iago has the lamp, so when Sora goes to knock him out, it kind of surprises him when Sora appears with the lamp. Heck, they even deal with the lamp right then and there in the manga, unlike here where they just like, we got the lamp now, I guess we'll forget about it until Kingdom Hearts 2 because Return of Jafar needs to happen.
Earth to Al? Hello, you still have 1 wish left? Look, just say the word. Ask me to find Jasmine for you.
I wish for your freedom, Genie.
Al!
A deal's a deal, Genie. Now you can go anywhere you want. You're your own master. But if you can, it'd be great if you could go along with them and help Sora find Jasmine.
Sorry, Al. I'm done taking orders from others. But a favor? Now that's entirely different. I guess I could give that a try. After all, we're pals, right, Al?
Genie.
Just leave it to me!
That smarmy Vizier could have had him. If someone had stuck around to give him a hand.
Hey, I did my part. I brought the princess, didn't I?
Jafar was beyond help, consumed by his own hatred. One should beware of letting it burn too fiercely.
Whoa, 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 lighten up. I'm as cool as they come, okay? By the way, kid, have we got something special for you?
Huh?
We had a deal, yes? You help us, and we grant you your wish.
Kyrie!
Go to her. Your vessel is waiting.
Just remember, this is no pleasure cruise. It won't be a pleasant voyage.
Why are you doing all this for me? What's the catch?
Catch? What's the catch? Silly boy. You're like a son to me. I only want you to be happy.
I seriously doubt that.
Believe what you wish. But lest we forget, I kept my end of the bargain.
Strong stuff. We've got ourselves another summon spell that we'll never use, and we've got another Keyblade that we'll never use. But the Green Trinity is something that we can use right now here in Agrabah in the storage room, and that leads to another great funny animation between our 3 main characters. Here we go. Like I said, not as funny as the one where they all run into each other, but this is still pretty great and hilarious. Well, we've still got a bit more exploring to do, and we've got a few more worlds to complete before we can actually say we've completed Challenge Mode for Kingdom Hearts 1. And with that, we have completed Agrabah. We got a few more things we can do in terms of exploration, but that'll happen next time. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of Challenge Mode. Please like, share, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.